Welcome to this rating summary of Arrival. In case you don't know, what I do is I discuss the content in the film to help you understand why the film has been rated a certain way rather than review it specifically. So let's talk about Arrival. Although the first thing I want to say to you, if you're concerned in any way about going to see this film, is that most of the content is very clean and very accessible. One thing I do want to note, first of all, though, is that this film isn't just about aliens and first contact. This film has a very strong and very powerful subplot in it about the death of a child. This child you see from birth up until the moment they die. They appear to die when they're a young teenager, perhaps, I don't know, maybe 13, 14. So they are quite young when they pass away, and they appear to die from cancer or radiation poisoning, something like that. Now, this isn't really a plot spoiler, or I hope it isn't, telling you all this. The reason I really wanted to bring it up is because obviously if this issue is affecting you and affecting you right now, and you're going to see this wonderful sci-fi film because it might be a form of escapism for you, then this is the sort of thing that, you know, I'd like you to be prepared for, because this could be quite upsetting, obviously. So death of a child is a strong theme in this film. Okay, so let's get on to the more standard content. Violence, there really isn't a whole lot of violence at all. There's an explosion and you see people being blasted backwards. You do hear that one character out of this explosion, or probably as a result of this explosion, does die. You see mostly newsreel footage of mass panic happening. So you see people panic buying, you see crowds of people being shot at to try and keep them under control. You see premises, shops being broken into and looted. You also hear audio playback of someone being shot over the airwaves. This is, you know, some audio which was recorded and is being played back for some people. So that kind of sums it up. So even though there's little bits of what might be called violence, there isn't actually a whole lot, which is great. Blood and gore is the same sort of thing. There isn't much blood and gore at all. But as I said, because there is the death of a child, you do see a young person with nasal tubes and IV drips, and you see what looks like they might actually be their dead body once they've passed away. You also see someone being medevaced away from a kind of an army camp base as well, but that's it in terms of blood and gore. So onto the sex and nudity. Again, really none. There's nothing in this film which I'd call sex or nudity, apart from there's a couple that hug. That's it. Alcohol and drugs, likewise. I think you see some champagne being drunk and some wine in the opening scene. So they're the only alcohol references. And with drugs, no illegal drugs at all. I think medication is mentioned once. And also we do know that our main characters are injected a couple of times with we don't really know what it is, but it seems to be something to help the possible effects of any possible radiation poisoning or something like that. But they're injected with the drug, even though you don't see it happen. You do see some blood extraction happening, so I guess we can put that in the blood and gore section. Bad language. Well, I know that an F word was said once. It might have been said one or two other occasions. If it was, I don't really remember. Language for me just seemed to not really be an issue with this film. There's no other swear words that I recall at all through the film. So again, this is a really clean and accessible film. Particularly if you love sci-fi, then you know there's very little to stop you from going to see it. What I do want to say is that I am not a sci-fi fan at all. I've never been into science fiction. It's not my favourite genre. Usually I go and send my co-writer to the sci-fi films because I just don't enjoy them. But this film, oh my goodness, it is just amazing. It's so superb to watch. The visuals are incredible. The acting is superb. But probably the best thing about it is there is just so much to unpack out of this film. There are so many themes in this film about everything from humanity to future to hope, communication, teamwork, you know, how we operate as a human race. You know, all these kind of things, as well as the idea of aliens. And without giving anything away, I really don't want to give away any plot spoilers, but the idea of if you know that something is going to happen or you know a likely outcome, will you still do that? Will you still allow that situational scenario to play out knowing what you know? And you know, this is the sort of film which will stay with you for days. You start to think about things and little puzzle pieces kind of fit together. It's wonderful. I do really encourage you to go and see Arrival by Denis Villeneuve, who is just one of the most talented directors on the film scene at the moment. If you want to know more about the content of the film, then check out the breakdown, which is on cinemum.net.